This is problem number 6. It's a fairly straightforward problem, but there is a wrinkle. So I'm going to do some extra work here to try and provide some context to what's already in the answer key. So here is our loan repayment formula, the present value of an annuity, and we're told we have a 20-year loan of $1,000. We're making end-of-year payments, so I'll be using my annuity immediate formula. The first 10 payments are 150% of the interest due. That's the wrinkle. The last 10 payments are X, so that's the unknown that we'd like to find. And we've got an interest rate earned annually. So let's look at this loan and think about what's happening year over year. We start with a principal of $1,000. We earn 10% annually, so that means at the end of the year, we've got an extra $100 we need to pay off. And we're going to make payments that are 150% of whatever the interest is that was earned for that year. So 150% of 100 is just 100 times 1.5. So the principal then at the beginning of the next year will be the sum of the principal from the preceding year and the interest minus the payment for 950. And then the process repeats. We earn 10% interest on 950 for $95, and then we make a payment that is 1.5 times this value. In this case, 142.5. The new principal is the sum of the old principal and the interest minus the payment for 902.5. And let's do one more row. Earn 10% interest, make a payment that is 1.5 times larger than the interest, and then find the new principal. So why go through the trouble to do this? Well, hopefully on an exam you wouldn't need to, you just piece it together. But let's have a look at what's going on in the principal column. Year over year, you can see 950 over 1,000. And if you check with your calculator, 902.5 over 950. Year over year, if we keep taking the ratio of the principal, we see that we are eating into that balance at a rate of 5%. And if you think about it, it really makes a lot of sense. Let's split that 150% into two parts and multiply them both by our 10% interest rate. Well, 100% of 10% is 10%, so that's all of our interest, and the remaining 50% times 10% is 5%. So we're eating away at the principal at a rate of 5% per year. And how long do we do that? For 10 payments. So the value that we're going to use in our loan repayment formula is going to be the initial value of the loan times this decay rate of 95% raised to the 10th power, because we're making 10 payments at that rate, and that gives us a value of 59.874 or something pretty close to that. So from here on out, all we have to do is plug in and use our formulas. But it's a common theme on exam FM, where before you get to the place where you can just take your numbers and plug them in, you've got to do some sort of thinking piece. So this is the thinking piece right here. And whether you need to write out a table or you can jump straight to here, really just comes with practice. So the value of our loan after 10 years is this. We're going to make payments size X for a further 10 years at a rate of 10%. So not of I, but of 10%. And let's work that value out here with our annuity formula. 1 minus the present value factor raised to the 10th power over the interest rate is just about 6.145. So then to solve for x, all we need to do is divide this 598 figure by the value of our annuity, 6.145. 598.74 over 6.145, and that gets you a value of x, I believe 97.44 or something very close to that. And then of course the pennies don't matter here. They're good for the purposes of rounding, but the final answer is D, 97.